Okay, so I'm going to start with XRP, and I will start by just a quick reminder of what I talked about yesterday and just how it's playing out. You can see the pattern here, the consolidation pattern of the breakdown, the repeat of it with a breakdown all the way through this bear market. This is my daily chart, and here's the bear market. But on this one, it followed the same pattern, except it broke it here, yeah. So when I zoom in like this, I'll show you where it broke it. This is the same chart without all the other markings. So yesterday I was talking you through it, and you can see when it gets to here, the top to top, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can simplify that to a 1, 2, 3, and here you go. 1, 1. Here we are on a 1, 2, 3. Let me show you now. It's easier when I do it this way. From the top here, 1, 2, 3. So 3. You can see the 3 here. And then you can see from the top here, 1, 2, 3. So that makes it more simplified. There's a lot of sideways here that seems to complicate it more, but really it's just a 1, 2, 3 down and a 1, 2, 3 down, yeah. On both of these. So now normally the spill here, when the spill happens, is again, you get the 1, 2, 3, and after that you get one final lift up, and if it spills, it capitulates and comes down, yeah. Where on this one, you got the 1, 2, 3, it does that final lift, and rather than capitulate and drop, it did a consolidation phase, then it did a 786 drop, it did a 786, and then it pumped up. So one of the differences is this did a consolidation and a 786, where the other one, it just went up and then just dropped. So now we are, if you look at this now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We've come up, potentially, this is potential now. We've come up and we've done our final, and it's looking more like a consolidation phase than just a capitulation, a V-shaped drop, yeah. And at the moment is potentially this may come back up one more time before it drops down, if it's going to follow this form, yeah. Or I might just do a wick to it now. And the target will be around the 786 at 43.25. So if it holds form for a break up, is you can see that at the end of this consolidation phase, you can see at the end of this consolidation phase, at the end of the pattern, it did this and went up. And we are now coming to the end of this consolidation phase. And as it stands, excuse me, as it stands, this impulse, 1, 2, potentially 3, 4, and then 5, or even bigger, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the smaller impulse within this is this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So within this smaller impulse, within the potential bigger one, you can see that price action still hasn't dropped below 1, 2. So it hasn't dropped below this. When I put the fib on this smaller impulse, it has retraced back to 0.5. The 0.5, it hasn't broken the 0.5. And generally when price action or the correction is shallow, it doesn't like to break the 0.5. If this was going to do a deeper correction, you'd be seeing a drop to the golden pocket, maybe a retrace back to 0.5 and then to the 786, or it even goes deep as the 702, retrace and then drop. It hasn't done that, and this consolidation phase is coming to an end, and it still hasn't broken the 0.5. So as it stands, it's a solid indication for a lift. Now, as I also said as well, is that the later time frame, the daily stochastic and the weekly stochastic is down. So even if this pumps, I think it's only a pump before it comes crashing back down on a much bigger dump. Yeah. So potentially we're here. If it's not this, well then it needs to be coming down now. We're at the phase in this consolidation where this move does a 786 and starts to head up, or it capitulates and it breaks below this 41 or so, breaks below this point. Yeah. So we're right at that moment. Yeah. It's due. We've got to see what's going to happen. I reckon today and tomorrow, just to give us a clearer indication of it. Yeah. When I just do a simple chart like this, you can see the same 1, 2, 3. Here's the wedge, breaks out of the wedge, back tests and pumps. You can even see the same thing here. Here's the wedge. There's a 1, 2, 3. It breaks out. It's back testing, and again, will it break through and continue down, or will it? Again, I still think it's going to do a 786 or so and then pump. We got to see, but you can see exactly where it is. It may go back up here one more time. It may go back up here one more time and then come down again. So that may happen. It may not drop to the 786 yet. Yeah, it may just play out a little bit longer. Yeah. Excuse me. So now what I'm looking at here is the 200 SMA, the red line, and the 50 SMA, the green line. So on the daily, for this to be a breakdown, it would need to break below the 50 SMA, drop down, do a back test, get rejected, and then continue on down. And that would be, if that dropped to the 786 of this impulse, drop down to here, back up to the 50, get rejected and down. And again, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. Hasn't happened yet, and we are at the end of this consolidation. Could it still happen? Yes, it could, but we'll see. If it does, the move for the pump is we get that bounce to 43 or so. Then we get a lift, and possibly a lift back up to 50, 51, up to the top of the channel here again. It may even go a little higher, and then we'll have a 786 back, and then we'll have our proper breakthrough, breaking the level. Yeah, this may even go and maybe do something like a double top, back for a 786 correction, and then a pump. So the breakout is still, if it's going up, the breakout is still a while away, but the establishment of the direction, the decision of which way it's going to go is going to be made here. It's going to be made in the next day or two. Whatever this decides to do, is it needs to break this 50 now and establish its pathway down, or else it's going to bounce and establish its pathway up. That's what I believe. But the breakout of either one, even if it breaks down, it has to backtest. The official breakout still, I don't know, over a week away. Either direction it goes. But that's to me what it seems like now. Yeah. When I went to the 4 hour, again you can see price action is getting compact in this. So again, bounce to the 43 here. Maybe even again a touch back up to 46.70 possibly, and then a touch back down to 43, or else down to 43, 42 and a half. And if this holds, then it bounce back up. Yeah. And then on the hourly, you can see there was already a spill on the hourly to break through here. Then the 50 crossed over, and there's the touch back to the 200, touch back to the 200. So again, this looks like this could continue to spill. So that's still on the cards, but it has to happen. It still has to happen. So that's the SMAs. So now the same chart, but now we're looking at the EMAs. Excuse me. And this is the 12-hour. So you can see the 12-hour 20 is very close to crossing over the 55. Yeah. So this is going to cross over if it continues to keep doing what it's doing, and again that will create that push down, and we could have that breakdown. We could finally have that breakdown, or what happens is that it starts to go sideways. We get a bounce here, we get a push back up, and that starts to go sideways, and then over the next few days we get a reversal and then a pump. So that's also what we're looking at on the daily. Here's the EMAs on the daily. Is for this to break down again, it needs to break the 55 on the daily, and then do a touch around the 38 or so, come back up, and by the time it's coming back up, the 20 and the 55 will be getting closer, and you'll get that touch off the 20 and the 55 rejection, and then the push down. That's the way it's going to break down if it's breaking down. If not, is bouncing off the 55, breaking back through the 20, up to maybe the top of the channel here again, a back test onto the 20, and then a pump up and breaking out. So again, how it behaves here is over the next day or two, I think it's going to be very telling. Yeah. Here's the MAs. Let's just have a quick look at what turned yesterday on the daily, because the daily turned. Yeah. I actually have I'll use this chart because it's a bigger screen. Yeah, I don't have all the other indicators on it. So there's the daily. Okay, just waiting for a refresh. Okay, so you can see from the top, the 20 MA is starting to take a turn down. The 20 EMA, the white one, is coming down now. The 10 is coming down. There's a proper spill. The 5 has decided to go sideways for the last couple of days. Yeah, and again you can see it's holding this level, but you can see it's starting to spill a little bit now. The 10, the 20 is coming down. So you can see there's, like, if I was looking at this, I'd say this looks fantastic for a spill. with these positions here, all that needs to happen is the 5 to take a turn down, and they'll all go. Yeah. But at the same time is you've got the 55, the blue one here, and then the 50 coming up, and this red one is the 200. So you see the 200 is coming down here as well. Excuse me. So you can see there's a fair battle royale gonna kick off here. Yeah, but we can see potentially again that drop to 43. And then that push through. These guys get turned. The 5 here doesn't turn down. The 5 turns up. You get the bounce here, and then the 5 turns up, and then it starts to turn the other guys. Yeah. So potentially, or else we have to spill. So we got to see. We got to see. So again, what it does at 43 here, because I do believe it's going to go to 43. It's what it does after that. is does it continue on down, or does it turn back up? And then I think we have our answer for the direction of the breakout, which will be happening in, I don't know, a week or so. But we should have our answer by then, yeah. So that's what I'm looking at. The two, I think the 2 day, did the 2 day turn yesterday, the 24th? No, the 2 day turn the day before. And again, looks very spilly. Looks very, very spilly. The 3 day, I think the 3 day turned. Yeah, the 3 day turned this morning, yeah. So again, look, the 5 is coming down nice and strong. The 5 is coming down nice and strong. The 10 has gone a bit sideways. The VWAP is down. There's the 55 on the 3 day. Again, even the VWAP is giving it a strong push. But then you have the 20 EMA leveling out here, and the 20 MA, the pink one, coming up strong. And then here's a support line down at the 50 here, yeah. So if it does break down, this looks like a good support line for a bounce, a back up, and a rejection, and then down again, yeah. So it does look. It does. Now here's the weekly. The 5 MA on the weekly turned down. Again, that's significant. So it totally looks like the down is a bigger possibility. And even on the multi days, the stocks on the 3, 4, and 5, they're only, and 6, they're only starting to come down now. Yeah. However, here's the stock. Yeah. So bottom right is the daily. Now the daily could be coming back up here a little bit, turn around, and you get a nice dump. There's the 2 day just bottoming out, but then when you go to the 3 day, there's the 3 days coming down. The 4 day is starting to come down. The 5 day, so you can see them all starting to come down all the way. 6 day to the weekly. Okay, so that's those. But between all those coming down, you could get a pump between the week. I know the weekly is coming down. That's I was talking about that yesterday. The weekly stock coming down is going to be anything from a 2 month to a 4 month timeline. If you just look at past when it tops out and it comes down, I just did a very small back test the other day, and when you look at these and you measure them, it's a range of between 2 and 4 months of a journey down. So could there be one more pump on the daily? Yeah, there could. Yeah, that we could get that pump up to 71 or so, and then we get a much bigger pull down from 71. So the pump is definitely could be in there before we get the bigger pull down. The bigger pull down is coming. There's no doubt about it. This weekly has to find its way back down. So that's going to be a journey. Yeah. Now more short term is, here's the 5 minutes working back up. Here's the 15. It's pushing down. Here's the half hour. So it looks like it's trying to push back up. Same with the hour. Hour's bottomed out. Looks like it's trying to get back up. 2 hours ready to potentially head up. The 3 hour is bottoming out, and the 4 hour is bottoming out. So that leads me to potentially think that here we go. Potentially think that there may be one more lift back up to here before it comes back to the 43, or it might just wick down. Yeah. Is when I look at the shorter time MAs. Let's just have a look at them now. Yeah, on the 1 hour. Actually, I'll use my other chart because I can see the stock at the same time. Yeah, let me tidy it up a little bit. So when I go to the 1 hour, here we go. Okay, so on the 1 hour, you can see that there's been a drop down. There it is. There it is. It's doing a consolidation phase here. Excuse me. It's doing a consolidation phase at the moment. So there's still a couple of hours for this to play out. Yeah, and this could turn. You can see bottom second on the left. The RSI has bottomed out here. So this could bottom out, come up and do another touch, before it comes down and hits the 43 or so. Yeah. Bottom left again, as you can see, there's a bullish divergence on the 1 hour, and here's the 5 minute, top left, 5 minute, then next one 15, half hour. They all have a bullish divergence. So again, there could be that lift. There could be that lift back up before it drops again, and that would fit in. That would fit in with. You see this consolidation phase here is it's sort of dragged out. Is that you this on the 4 hour, you got the peak, you know, you got a lift, a little drop, lift, a deeper drop. Potentially we're at this deeper drop. You get one more lift before it turns around and does it and eventually does it 786. Or we're here and we got one more little lift and then it drops down and it comes down. Yeah. So it's one or the other. I believe it's one or the other. Either way, I'm looking for a 43.5 touch. So if this does come back up here, I'll hop in on a short and look to take the journey to 43. I'll be looking for the reversal pattern here. If it comes down, I'll be looking at the reversal pattern anyway, and then I'll be looking for my entry point for a long, and that's really where I am with it today. But at the same time, I'm also looking for confirmation of direction. Confirmation of direction on the bigger move. Are we going to go up as our next big move, or are we heading down? Yeah, I do believe we're going to get our answer for that in the next day or two, and then after that it'll play. If it's a rejection here and it wants to head up, we're going to get a 1-2 bounce here, and then we'll get the pump. So that'll take a time to get that. Yeah, and the same if it breaks down, it's gonna break down here. It's got to do a back test, and then it's got to actually spill out. So either way, we still have a good, I don't know, week, 10 days of that playing out before that bigger move is going to come. So that's what I think. So watch out for a short trade today. Is if price action heads back up to around 46.70 or so. Yeah. Don't be surprised if it heads up to 48. It may want to head up to 48 or so, 48.30. But I do believe if it's following the same pattern, it's already topped out. So it may come back up to around 46.70. There'll be a nice opportunity for a short there down to 43. Now, how would I map this out? Yeah, look, this is the bottom. Put the fib to the top here. There's the bottom. There's the top. Look for a 702, which is at 46.35. The 786 is 46.60 essentially. Yeah. So if you see it starting to head back up here, I think it's going to head back up for this. So you put your short in here, and then you put your stop loss a small bit above where the peak is here. So the peak is 47.24, so 47.30, 47.35, with a target of 43.05, maybe 43.20. Yeah, and I think this line here. This line here will probably will give you your answer. Yeah, is by the time it comes up here, if it doesn't come back down, it's probably going to touch somewhere off this line. Yeah, so that's it. If you see it dropping to 43 and we start to recognize it's doing a reversal pattern, again, let's say it drops to here, is the reversal pattern. It may do a V shape, or it may do something more regular where it'll come up here, do a peak, and then it'll drop back down. Okay, and it'll do something like this. Yeah. So what you're looking for is that when it drops down and then it does its first lift, when you start to see it reverse down, now you have your range. Is you put the fib from the top to the bottom here, and you look for, again, a 702, there would be 43.28, and you put your stop loss just below where it bottomed out. So let's say it bottomed out at 42.92, is 42.80 as a stop loss, and that's the range, and let it play out, and look to see a lift, yeah. And if that happens, then we'll start talking about targets, yeah. So that's it for now. Let's see what this wants to do, and we will take it from there. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's see where we are today. Let's see where the DXY is today. The DXY looks like on the 4-hour it's bottomed out. I have to say that yesterday did not go as the DXY anticipated it. So yeah, it seems like the space that the coins are in at the moment, Bitcoin and Ethereum, is as it's lined up, it's a small space, and we are looking at the same confirmations as yesterday. So the DXY space is a different one in terms of size. So a move on the DXY may seem bigger, whereas it reflects in a smaller space in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And also because they reach their limits faster, they might reverse as well. So just to give you a general picture, it looks like on the 4-hour it's bottomed out. I don't think it has on the day though. The day hasn't. The day is below the 20 MA on the Bollinger. Once it crosses down, the bottom line is the target. So again, we have contradictory information between the 4-hour and the day, and usually when that happens, that leads to sideways. So more sideways on the DXY would reflect in more sideways on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, we are having a different situation today in terms of the relationship with the 20 EMA for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin did close below the 20 EMA yesterday, and today we are below it. So being below the 20 EMA, of course, indicates more downwards movement. Where that downwards movement will take us is the big question, because if we're looking at the smaller time frames, the 15-minute has bottomed out, and there have been, between this one and this one, no divergence on the 15-minute. I was going to say there have been divergences, but no, that's true more of XRP than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's RSIs on the stochastic RSIs on the 1-hour and the 15-minute have bottomed out, and it looks like the EMAs on the 1-hour are planning to come down. Where this is going to take us, probably around the support line of 19K. If that support line breaks, there's another support line here at around 18.6. So that's where we are with Bitcoin. We are still in the same small space. We don't have too much support on the daily in terms of the bigger MAs. The 20, the 5, and the 10 are all meeting. 20 is pushing down. 5 is the only one pushing up, and the 10 is slightly coming down. On the 4-hour, we have the support of the 20, and we have the support of the 50, and we are moving between the 200 and the 50. So you can see this nice sideways channel that we're in. We have crossed the 20 down though, so if this 50 breaks, the bottom of the Bollinger is the next target. I would say that the bottom of the Bollinger is the next target anyways, with the 20 crossing, unless we turn the 20 back into support quite soon. I would say if this candle closes below the 20, then the 20 is confirmed as resistance, and the next one will be probably pushing down. So here we are again with Bitcoin in the middle of the middle. I think the 4-hour MA landscape shows it very clearly. The 200 is a nice straight line, the 50 is a nice straight line, and price action is between them. The 10 is coming down, 5 is coming down. The only one that's lifting slightly higher is the 20, but this will no doubtedly collapse if we don't see any movement upwards. Here are the levels, and you can see that we are in the middle of the middle. Again, we haven't crossed the divergence line that Bitcoin moved upwards from, that broke upwards from. It still hasn't crossed it down. Despite all this downward movement yesterday, we haven't yet leveled the regular RSI to the bottom. So the regular RSI is in the middle. The stochastic RSI, showing more immediate momentum, has bottomed out though. Again, that might mean some more sideways for Bitcoin. We might be in this range on the daily. I told you yesterday that coins have a tendency of widening the range towards the last stages of the breakout. So we would have a line like this. This green line, while price action broke above it, it hasn't gone anywhere. So I will keep it because it is of daily relevance of where it's coming from. But price action needs to move on from where it is in order to confirm the breakout. As it is now, the breakout is not confirmed. The breakout is invalidated because we have closed below the 20. We haven't managed to keep the 20 EMA for support. So it's one day up, one day down. It's a yo-yo situation. So we've yet to wait and see what happens. So this would be the new space that we would be moving in between these lines now, preparing for another lift or another drop if the bottom line breaks. And again, I believe that we will break to the downside because the bottom line is the one that's most tested. However, and also the weekly stochastic is moving downwards. Yesterday, because of the upwards momentum, it was trying to cross up with a little bit more gusto, but I think it'll change its mind if we have another down day today. So if we have another down day today, we might see we might see the weekly stochastic push down a little bit more. That's all I have to say about Bitcoin. To summarize it in a nutshell, we are moving between the 19.6 and the 18.6 space. This is the range. I don't find it to be a particularly trade-worthy range. It's about 5% if you catch the ends, but the ends are the most of the action happens within that 3% range that the 4-hour is showing us. From here to here. Oh, sorry, I take that back. It's not even 3%. It's 1%. So it's very, very small. Unless you catch an entry at either end, I don't see any trade worth doing while it's in this space. Now, Ethereum is moving in a similar space. However, Ethereum is holding the support of the 20 EMA. Ethereum closed above the 20 EMA, and today we are above the 20 EMA. So the lift that happened on Sunday hasn't been invalidated as it has Bitcoin's. Ethereum's still keeping the uptrend. Now it's keeping the EMAs on the 4 hours crossed upwards, and as it looks right now, the stochastic on the 4 hour and the regular RSI on the 4 hour are coming down. The 1 hour is coming down, and I believe that the 15-minute is floored on the stochastic, but it still has space to go on the regular RSI. So by the looks of it, Ethereum is in a healthier position to continue the uptrend. It still hasn't. Now, yesterday we were saying that we need a 2.7 lift to break the previous high. Breaking the previous high would validate this big W pattern on the daily, and validating this W pattern on the daily means at least a target of 1500 initially, and then 1625 would be the ultimate one. So that would be this. We are still having that conversation today about Ethereum because Ethereum hasn't invalidated this lift. It's still holding the support on the 4 hour. It's still holding the EMA's crossing on the 4 hour. However, it hasn't invalidated, it hasn't confirmed that W pattern by breaking the previous high. It needs to break out of this purple sideways space that it's been in. At the moment, it's still moving in this space. And as we were saying yesterday, and as we're saying today about Bitcoin, this might the daily started before this breakout as a triangle. Everybody's looking at triangles here, and we were looking at this as a triangle for a break upwards. And the candle did break upwards, and then the second candle back tested it. It held on back test. Now until we break the previous high, this is the space that we're moving in. So it is a bigger space than Bitcoin's in terms of the range. It's a 7.7% range. And what's more relevant in terms of trading, the daily trading levels are 7.8. So it's a bigger space to trade between. And I know Ethereum has its sideways levels. It loves its sideways consolidation. You see this lift, sideways consolidation, lift, sideways consolidation. Is the sideways consolidation for a lift, or is this for a sell-off? Again, we've yet to see where this is gonna take us. It looks on the daily levels. Again, Ethereum is closest to the pivot point between. I haven't checked to see the daily levels for Bitcoin. Let me see, because I don't want to anticipate and guesstimate too much. So Bitcoin is. Let me calculate from where it is now. Bitcoin is 0.47 away from the pivot point, and the pivot point and the daily open are around the same place. If Bitcoin manages to break upwards and turn the daily open and the pivot point into support, then that would change the sentiment on the day, and the day would be pivoting to the upside. The Ethereum is a lot closer. It's less than 0. It's 0.006 away from the daily open and away from the pivot point, with a 15-minute stochastic looking like it wants to make a lift. If it does do that lift, if Ethereum gets above the pivot point and the daily open, we're talking about an M2 to M4 lift. So that would take us up to 1380. The higher high that we need to make on the daily is at 1381. So today the M4 would be at 1384. So technically that would bring us past that line if it does do that lift. So Ethereum is the closest one to continue this lift and continue this move upwards. If it gets rejected here, or if it just goes up to M3 and does a double top situation between the Sydney session and the London session or the New York session, then this can be considered a triple, together with the Sunday highs, this would be a triple top situation. So it needs to get past the M3, it needs to make a higher high, and it needs to break the previous high at 1380. That is it. That is, in a nutshell, what I wanted to tell you, because we are looking at confirmation and invalidation now. That's what I'm watching for in my trading. I'm not trading Bitcoin at the moment because I find the range to be too small to trade. It's not worth the effort that you put into monitoring the trade and everything else. XRP is more beneficial in that aspect. Ethereum's ranges are worth trading, and Ethereum seems to be clearer in direction as well. So if you catch, as long as it is above the 20 EMA, watch for an entry point at the bottom of a 15-minute swing and follow it upwards on the daily levels. That's it from me. I'll keep you guys posted, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.